Woo! Man United 3, Leicester City 0. We don't win very many away from home at the moment. We don't get many clean sheets, but happy with the win today. The only sour note is, of course, the unfortunate injury to Ayden Heaven, who was putting in a man of the match display. There are rumors that it could be as bad as a break. We send all our prayers to the young man and hope he makes a very speedy recovery, because he's been phenomenal since making his debut a few short weeks ago, and it would be horrendous and such bad luck to lose such an excellent young talent so soon after making an impact at the football club. Outside of that, Man United meant business tonight. Leicester, we know they're struggling. We know they're in the relegation battle. They barely score goals. But United themselves have had so many troubles away from home this season, so many troubles scoring, players on long goal droughts. And I felt tonight that Ruben Amorim, he got it correct. I understand why he's been playing Rasmus. He needs him to start scoring. He needs him to start getting a bit of confidence. And we saw midweek when we played Real Sociedad, the hold-up play was better. His involvement, his runs were a little more like when we first signed him. And tonight he put himself back in those good positions, and he got himself a very well-worked goal, a fantastic find from Bruno Fernandes. His touches were a little bit sporadic and a little bit sketchy, but he buried it brilliantly into that bottom corner. Leicester, look, they gave it their best shot. They really did try to score, and they committed men forward, and they really gave it a go. And this is what happens for the teams in relegation at this stage of a season. They can't afford to sit back. They can't afford to wait. They can't afford to hang on in there. They have to try and score goals. But United on the counter tonight were absolutely brilliant. Nearly went 2-0 up, but Garnacho was offside. And then a little bit of fortune in United's second goal, that Bruno's first through ball deflected back to him, but then he finds Garnacho, who buries it. And it was both Garnacho and Rasmus Hojlund that end their very long goal drought. Both of them in recent weeks looking better in terms of their overall play. And we just need, as a club, to work on that and build on that, and for them to become more confident. Because, look, we've got some big Europa League games on the horizon. League position, we're safe. We're not going to get relegated. We were never going to get relegated, in my view. But finding some form for that is going to be very important indeed. So I was glad to see them getting the goals. And then, look, Bruno Fernandes today. I would have, up until the injury, Heaven was my man of the match. I thought he was phenomenal defensively again today. He was a powerhouse for an 18-year-old. Bruno Fernandes, look, sets up 2 goals. Dominant display in central midfield, moves into an attacking midfield row when the 3 subs after the second goal comes alive, scores an absolute wonder goal. 3 more sort of GA for him today, but it was his performance again. And I spoke about this after his hat-trick in Europe on Thursday night, that I got it wrong. Earlier on in the season, I put him into a category of players that I thought needed to go for Man United to move forward. It was never a dig at his ability, never to try and tarnish what he has done for us before. But I just felt that maybe Man United needed to move on from him for multiple reasons. And at this particular point, I take that back. I think he is developing into a very important player inside Ruben Amorim's system. His leadership quality is shining through. And the more used to this system we get, the more balanced we become, the better he performs. And that's the same for most players in most teams. When there is a balanced system, when there is an identity, when everybody knows where they're meant to be in the attack and in the defense, most players look better. But the better the quality, the better the ability, the more they shine. And you're seeing that in abundance when it comes to Bruno Fernandes and his output. I was looking at this earlier. In recent weeks, 3 GA today, a goal and 2 assists, a hat-trick before that, the goal against Arsenal. No goal in the Sociedad game, but the goal against Fulham in the FA Cup, an assist against Ipswich, but brilliant in that Ipswich game in midfield. A goal against Everton, brilliant in that second half against them. An assist against Leicester in the FA Cup right towards the end of the game. And you look at it and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 GA in his last 10 games. You actually look since the sacking of Ten Hag, the output for him has returned, and output is a very important component. I thought he was great today again, and long may that continue. Long may it continue for Manchester United and him. But as I say, look, United's Premier League season has been a disappointment overall, and nothing is going to make up for it. Well, look, we sit 13th. Can we put a few more wins together? It's going to be tough. Up next, we're away at Nottingham Forest, third in the league. They've had a phenomenal season. It's a massive acid test, and one I'm looking forward to, because I do see green shoots of progression and hope in the last few games. We haven't won all of them, but there's been better performances, better displays. And I'm thinking, okay, well, can we now take it to the next level? Dorgu will be back. Fingers crossed we have Mainu. Fingers crossed we have Yoro. Fingers crossed we have Maguire back in the fold at that point. And look, I've got massive, massive prayers going out to Heaven. And that sounds weird when I said it out loud. But hopefully his injury isn't as bad as first thought. But the fact that Sky wouldn't show a replay is very, very worrying indeed. But I think the Forest game will give me anyway an insight into the progression of this team, the progression of the system. Yeah, and I'm very, very excited to see it. There's no doubt about it. But there's even talk that Ahmad could be returning to training in 2 to 3 weeks' time, which I think would also be a massive boost to Manchester United as well. But look, with every win, I don't get carried away. I celebrate and I'm happy. With every defeat in recent times, I haven't been throwing baby out with the bathwater, talking about back threes, sacking managers, this project, this redevelopment of the football club is going to fail. I've kept my feet on the floor the whole time. I'm going to continue to keep my feet on the floor and not get carried away. But I am just very, very happy with that win. Very, very happy with that display today. And I'd love to get your views, your opinions in the comments section below to tell me what you think. Let's take a look at some of the comments that have come through here. Jamie says that injury was effing awful to see. Yeah, look, we don't know. No one's seen it yet, unless maybe in other countries they showed the extent of it. I will say this as well. I've got no beef with Leicester fans, never have, but I thought the ones booing were an absolute abomination. And I really do focus here on the captain and the leaders at Leicester, because they would have known, because they're on ground level on the pitch, that it was a serious injury. You should have gone to your fans and said, calm down, stop the booing, stop the jeering. Some were clapping when he came off, but there were still boos ringing out. And I just thought that was, it's always disrespectful, but to do that to an 18-year-old fledgling, I thought was scummy, scummy behaviour indeed. But I wanted to see the leaders at Leicester call it out and shut it down and come out and say something. And I was very disappointed that they didn't, if I'm being honest with you. I really, really was frustrated by that. Tottenham Goose got cooked. Yeah, they did today. We're above them now in the league. Big up yourselves. Bruno slander needs to stop. He has 8 goals and 9 assists in the Premier League in a poor United team. Do you know what it comes down to? We have to be very careful what we consider Bruno slander to be. I was looking at him at 29, turning 30, a team in transition, a player performing poorly, myself frustrated with where the club were. And I thought maybe he has to be part of the contingent that leaves. Maybe he has to be part of the group that goes, because he's just a kind of poster boy of the failings that we've been through. I think Rashford came into that category as an example. Anthony certainly did, and there have been others. What I've loved about Bruno in the last couple of months is how, as this system has started to settle in, you've really started to see a different him. Whether he's played in the 10, whether he's played in central midfield, he's been better. Now, you can always point out the mistakes that Bruno Fernandes makes. He overhit that cross. That pass was poor. I always feel that he's heavily scapegoated because he's actually been the man that invariably has bailed us out in the last 5 years. And we always expect that from him. There are some people that never liked him for one reason or another, who will jump on bad form, jump on that bandwagon and try and prove themselves right. But objectively speaking, I think the debate is over. He is a very good football player. He's been excellent for Man United individually. And I would love to see us settle. I would love to see us improve as a collective, as a group, and the system, and him to be part of that and play in a few good, very good Man United teams. I think I would like to see that in him. The older generation than me always spoke about Brian Robson being a little bit like that, how he was a phenomenal player for us. And they were so glad that when Fergie's teams really started to develop and flourish, he was in the back end of his career, but he was still part of that. And fingers crossed, that happens at Man United and Bruno Fernandes is picked up in that, because I think that he deserves it. We are starting to show cohesion and consistency. The lit is tough as nails. Rasmus, take off ready. Do you know what I love about what you said there? Firstly, we are starting to see some consistency and some cohesion within the team. We still need a massive squad overhaul, so you're not going to get the consistency of results until that happens. But the lit, phenomenal signing. Phenomenal signing for Manchester United. Not just the player, but the amount we paid for him to boot, brilliant. The De Ligt we have seen at United, especially under Ruben Amorim, is a De Ligt we saw at Ajax. A leader, a powerhouse, man amongst boys. Well, I mean, at Ajax, he was a boy and he was still the man there. He's been phenomenal. Yep, you'll find some clever dick, some smart Alec will put a compilation together of the mistakes he's made. You could do that to any player. He has been an excellent signing. He really, him and Maz have been phenomenal. I actually think Yoro's been a good signing, but there's a target on his back. Heaven, listen, excellent. I like Ugarte. I think he's a good player and will become a very good player for us. Xerxes started poorly, but again, in recent weeks, he's starting to really flourish again. He's delivering and doing what he does best. I'm really not that. Now I look back with some hindsight, with a calm head. Most of our signings in the summer just gone, I'm really quite impressed with. I hope we have a summer with different positions where we sign. If our 3 or 4 main signings were as good as last summer's, we'll be a much better team next year. Dorgu's been a good signing so far as well. So if we can do that again, maybe sign 5 or 6 and 4 or 5 of them really improve us, I'd be very, very happy with that indeed. And on Rasmus, look, I hope now he goes on a run. Doesn't mean we have to make him the main number 9 for the future. But if he could now go on a 6, 7, 8 game scoring streak like he done before, that will benefit Man United massively. By the end of the season, in terms of prize money, that could be worth about 10 to 20 million fucking pounds, if not more. So yes, I hope he does do it. Any Man United fan who doesn't want him to go on a goal scoring streak, I think it's a bit of a mug. Good to see Harry Amas get his debut. Yeah, he came on and looked really comfortable and tidy. An excellent time to bring him on. It really, really was. I'm going to ask KJ a comment about that as well, and I bet he agrees with me, but I'm going to wait till he comes on before I ask it. Been a good week. New stadium coming and 2 wins. Look, it has been, and I'm not going to do correlation and causation. I'm only throwing this out there as a train of thoughts, as opposed to thinking it's the truth or knowing it's the truth. When Newcastle got taken over and their plans for their future were announced, a lot of the players said it motivated them. And you will find that the players looking at what's being done internally, the new stadium, what it's going to look like, it will motivate players to perform and deliver. Now, maybe not a Bruno Fernandes, who by then would be 35 years old. He's already motivated. But if you are a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, you could be here for that launch. If you're performing badly and you don't improve, maybe you're playing in a club that's got a 20,000-seat stadium, never going to have a chance of winning. Maybe it shows a different level of intent from the ownership that you haven't seen before. So I do think these things can have a correlation, but we'll see in time. Good to see the youngsters get some game time, absolutely, and the correct game to bring them into. United win and Liverpool lose a cup final. What a great day. Listen, I'm not even going to lie. I was sitting here having a few drinks when United went 2-0 up, and I thought, this could be a great, great day. It really could. Liverpool losing, my cousin Joe celebrating Newcastle winning, and with Man United picking up a really important win for us as well. So, yeah, brilliant. We need to stick with Amorim through bad and good. Yeah, look, it's really interesting. There's a few United fans I follow and I'm good friends with who have really ripped into Amorim. I've been following their Twitter accounts closely because I like to see. The last 3 matches during games have been fucking silent. Maybe they've taken a break from Twitter. Maybe. But for me, It's because they know, oh, God, I can't talk today. Can't talk today, which tells me you've got an agenda, and I'm sad to see the agenda. I'm just sad to see it. KJ's joining me on the show now. Make sure, people, you've hit the like button, by the way. Get that done. Get yourself subscribing. Get yourselves, get the bell notification button turned on as well. But my brother's here with me. KJ's in the house. By the way, do you like my new lights? Do you like the new lights behind me?
Oh, yeah, looking very nice. Do they change color, though? That's the question.
Change color with an app, right? I can show you what I'll put myself in big here, right? So let me show you. So if I go onto the app on my phone, right? They change color. They do this cool thing. I'm not going to do it because I won't be able to turn it off, but it's on here. So if I do this, right, it's going to load up. So I'll turn it. What I'll do, because it's United, you can turn them red, right? So I've got to change the other one over now. So you can turn them red. You can change color. You can make them adapt to, like, if say you're watching a film or something, it can adapt to the color of the show. They're really cool.
Yeah, okay. Is that newer as well?
Is it what?
Is it newer? Is it a newer light?
No, it's they're actually Amazon. From Amazon, they've got Amazon something they're called. So so you can connect them to your TV in your room. I tried it earlier. I had it on when the football was on, and whatever like colors are on the TV screen, the lights that match it, so it makes the room the same color. It's cool, really cool.
Oh, nice.
I have turned into a geek since I met you. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Wait. Why say met me? I got nothing to do that. You've always been a geek.
A little bit of a geek, KJ. A little bit. That's a good thing. Man United win today, bruv. We're happy. We're smiling. What did you make of the performance, brother?
Yeah, when was the last time we can say we had a simple, easy, and a quite boring win? Like, the performance wasn't scintillating. It wasn't top level. It wasn't at the level of what we played against Sociedad and Arsenal. But for once, we didn't need to do that, because our position were that bad and we were clinical when it needed to be. So yeah, as a performance, I'm not going to write home about it and say it was a masterclass. But as a United fan, going through the season that we've been, I'll take a 3-0 where you don't really have to perform like world beaters, Yeah, I'm happy about that. The first half was quite sloppy, I think, with possession. Rasmus has again a goal, which calms us down a little bit. And then going into the second half, I thought, we're gonna might stick on them a little bit more. We didn't. Amarim clearly told them, listen, boys, just relax. You've got your break coming up. You've got a lot of football to play. Going out, gassing out now against Leicester isn't really what you need to do, right? So I think we played more conservative. We contained them, and we ended up getting 2 goals towards the end of the game. Not really much more that can be said there. We can just talk about individual players, really.
No, listen, I agree. It was quite simplistic, and it wasn't. I was a little nervous until the third goal went in, and that's because we've won 3 games away from home all year. We barely keep clean sheets, and you just don't want to throw it away. But in terms of individuals, I wanted to start off actually with young Heaven, because obviously he picks up a really bad injury. And that's gutting for him, but also the performance up until that point was top class, I thought.
Yeah, he was looking very promising. My biggest highlight wasn't even the double block. It was when, I think it was Daka running through, got around him on the outside, and he accelerated, kept up, and then just a cheeky outside of the boot to win the ball back. And we have, when have we seen a defender do that for Man United in recent years? Normally, if a player gets around the outside while carrying the ball, they're through one-on-one. Our defenders make a mistake, doing a last-ditch tackle, they're falling over. It's just so nice to see a defender just compose, knowing that the king could be with the attacker, and make a smart tackle as well. He wasn't diving for it. He wasn't doing a last-ditch tackle. It's simple, stick your foot out, outside the foot, flick it out of their path, and we're good to go. So I was really impressed with his performance. Obviously, he had a double block as well. He had a nice little drive with the ball as well in that, which was I was impressed with. So we had a answer to a short-term problem we had at left centre back. And of course, because it's United, and we saw a green shoot of hope, it got taken away. In another instance where a player has done a defensive action and it's caused them getting injured. It happened with Yaro twice this season. It's happened with Alessandro Martinez, and now with Ayden Heaven, when he was building up speed and we really needed him for the last part of the season. It's just really gutting, man, and I'm really upset. And to be fair, I don't know about you, but it put a sour taste for the rest of the game because I just knew that yes, we're winning and we've won. I'm happy, but like, yeah, man, it's annoying.
It did, and look, Maguire and Yoro will probably be back after the international break, fingers crossed, and God willing. But it still left a sour taste because I don't care about anybody else's club when I say this. Man United is built on youth and academy players getting a chance. And yes, he was only purchased in January from Arsenal. So he isn't quite part of the academy, but not all of our young players are. Ronaldo and Rooney were bought at 17, 18 years of age and developed. I mean, Ryan Giggs came in at like 16, 17 to the football club. People have got to do their history and research, and not every young player that we've had and developed has always been from our academy directly. They've come in at that kind of borderline age. And it was just a side note from everything else this season, watching young Heaven get the debut, look accomplished, look controlled, look comfortable. It's just very sad to see. And fingers crossed, as we say, that it isn't as severe as it looks. Maybe if there is some kind of break, hopefully it's more of a hairline. And hopefully it's only a few weeks until he can start playing foot, maybe even 6 weeks until he can start playing football again. It'd be horrible to see it some kind of 6 month, 8 month, 9 month sitting on the sideline, because this period is so important for his development. And I just hope that he's okay, because I think for £1 million signing, it shows some of the I think it shows us a little bit of the future of what Man United are going to do in recruitment. And I know not everybody is sort of psyched about the idea of there being a lot of youngsters that are bought, but I see that as very much part of the way Man United were built in the first place. I don't think it means we're not going to sign experience either. I think there will be that combination that we get correct. But very, very sad for him, but a very bright future ahead. And he'll get back. He's young. We saw a bad ankle break for Harvey Elliott a few years back, and he was back in the same season. Obviously, it was a lot earlier, and he's been playing very, very well for Liverpool and doing his thing. So fingers crossed that turns around well. Obviously, 2 players tonight as well, though, that have been struggling for goals, confidence, and form. Rasmus and Garnacho both getting goals. I would say Garnacho's performances of late have been looking a lot better. But how important do you think it is that the two of them picked up goals today and had good performances?
Yeah, it's very important, because at the end of the day, they are the attackers that we've got. Many of us don't want them to be. Many of us want them to be squad players. Many fans want them to be sold and moved on and be upgraded upon. But until the summer, these are the attackers that we have. And I'd rather attackers that don't like scoring goals and being confident than having attackers I don't like and they're not scoring goals and they're not performing and they are being poor. So overall, it's been good. I think over the last few games, for both of them, their performances have improved. I think Rasmus, over the last 3 games, his hold-up play has been good. His link-up play has been decent. The fact that he's been threatening in some way, shape, or form is a good thing. It is a good thing. Especially that you saw it, that he did most things right that game. He just obviously didn't get the goal, but led to it. He got a penalty and he got an assist. And now he's got a goal. So now you're hoping, okay, build up your confidence, lad. If you've been selected for Denmark, go play well for them, come back and be firing, because we're going to need you in the Europa League. We're going to need you in the Premier League. And Garnacho, I think another thing for him is him playing on the right. And I think many Man United fans said it before, but I like him on the right because he plays for the team. It's less about him cutting in and shooting and cutting in, looking like the main guy, and more about, okay, how do I facilitate the play? And as you saw today, he was trying to make things happen for the team. But when he did have a chance to go and shoot, he took them and he took them well. Like the first goal that got disallowed, very good goal. Cut in left foot, weaker foot, curled it in, nice. Second goal, you turn and shoot. We haven't seen enough of that from Garnacho. We've not seen enough of that from Rasmus, where they are clinical and their decision making has been right. Shot selection, when to shoot, when to pass. They are gaining some confidence, and I believe if you put Xerxes with them again for a few more games, I'll start to believe that we see some kind of synergy that we've been lacking. I think throwing Eriksen in there today, he was awful today. He was not good. But if that was Xerxes, I do believe we probably would have scored or maybe had better attacks throughout the game. But we need these guys to be confident. So I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, but where was it for the last how many games?" That's already gone.
Yeah. There is no point moving the goalposts from the on the criticism to then dunk on them some more. The Rasmus one was always so interesting for me because he scored. I was looking at this now, right? He scored 2 goals and an assist in his second game for the manager, and his first start. His third game for the manager, he scores against Forest. He then gets a brace in his next game, straight after that against Victoria Polson. So he had 5 goals and an assist in his first 4 games under Ruben Amorim. And I remember thinking then, okay, well, he's kind of he likes it. Then you sort of go 19 odd games, and there were some abysmal performances in there. Last game, I actually thought it was good against Sociedad, gets an assist right at the end. Today, I thought it was good, gets a goal. I'm not going to get carried away thinking this is the beginning of a turnaround and he's going to be brilliant forever. What I hope is for a 4, 5, 6, 7 game run where he's getting goals and getting assists and putting in good displays, because that could put us into a semi-final. That could put us into a final of a Europa League, and that's what I care about in the short term. On Garnacho, very, very similar. I've actually been quite happy with Garnacho's performances in the last 5 or 6 games. I think he's been a little bit more composed. His finishing's been off, but I feel like he's been more composed. He's been a little bit less erratic, especially on the right-hand side. I think he, as you say, he plays more for the team. I just want them both to get a little bit more, confidence in front of goal, because we need that. And it's not, and this is the problem I think a lot of United fans have. I understand it, but I think it's a wrong way to think. Oh, I don't want him to do well because the club might decide to keep him. I think that's something to worry about later on down the line, if that makes sense. But right now, Man United need results, because the higher we finish in the league, the more money we get. The better we do in the Europa League, the more money we get. And whether people like hearing it or not, that money's important to us because we need to improve the squad. And an extra 10, 20, 30 million pound in prize money this season could be the difference between signing 4 players that improve us and signing 5 players that improve us. And I would say so far, the 2 signings we've made since Ruben Amorim has been here, Dorgu and Heaven, look excellent in our side. And you even look at the summer. Xerxes started to come alive now. I've always liked Yoro, other than that one game against Southampton where he was getting cooked. And I think De Ligt and Maz have been excellent signings. I think Ugarte's been good. So if we could have another season next year where our signings look as good as these guys do, plus these guys improve further, we'll be in a much better position next year. So me looking at these guys and wanting them to perform is not about saying, I was right about Garnacho. Oh, I was right about Hojlund. It's not even in the wheelhouse. It's, I want us to finish the season as strong as possible to gain as much money as possible to improve the squad. And that may mean replacing one of these 2 guys. So yeah, very, very happy with them indeed. Bruno Fernandes. And I bring him up because there's a comment that came through, a super chat that came through here saying, yet again, Bruno sits down his haters. Listen, he's in amazing form right now. What did you make of him tonight, mate?
I think he's been good again. And as someone who's also have said, I know you made it, but I've also said to move forward that Man United, we should move on Bruno Fernandes. I'm sitting here and looking at his position change and be like, I'd rather keep him here if he's going to be doing this. You know what I mean? When he was in the 10 in the 3-4-3, he wasn't providing the speed. He was dribbling was off, like his decision making was off, his passing was off, and you could tell he was trying to do so much for the team. But then he got moved into this central role in the pivot. And for some reason, he has just been a breath of fresh air. He's more composed on the ball. His passing is really good. His decision-making is really good. And he's scoring more goals and getting more assists. Because I think that's because he's getting more time in central areas because he's not one of the attackers, Like they've got 3 attackers in front. He's got 2 wing-backs bombing forward. He's got so much more time and space to do what he's good at. And I like him in that role. And if you're telling me that we have to keep Bruno Fernandes for a few more seasons, then if he's in that role, keep him. I've got no issue with that. because we are finding ways to get best out of players. One of the things that people have been saying about Amorim is, how he's not improving players, he's not getting the best out of the players. All of them look rubbish. But one, we know that's not true, and two, we already knew that it's going to take time to find solutions in this squad, and we've been finding them slowly. Obviously, Ayden Heaven was a solution, I believe, that we had found. But obviously, he's got injured now, but there's this little solution there. Playing Bruno in the double pivot has been a solution. Moving Xerxes into one of the 10s instead of being a striker, we've seen it again, getting the best out of him. Hopefully Garnacho forms continues on the right hand side. Dorgu came in. Obviously, the manager would have a say in that. So there are short term solutions that Amorim is finding that I can deal with until the summer, and Bruno being in the double pivot is one of them.
I agree. I agree. I think he looks the Bruno in this double pivot of late as we're starting to see the rest of the players get up to speed with how we're trying to play. He reminds me of Bruno for Portugal. Very, very similar. And if you're like me and you've watched Bruno for Portugal a lot, even when I was saying I think his time at United may have to be up because his performances were bad, and I'm glad that it looks like that may be wrong because I love Bruno Fernandes. One thing I regularly said to people is, look, I don't think he's a bad player. I don't see how you can look bad for Man United week in, week out for a period of time, but then you go on international duty and look amazing for Portugal. And I mean that across the board for all players. Even when it comes to Anthony and Rashford and others are now doing well away from Man United, I would always give them the same credit I'm giving Bruno in this instance, which is when you're in a well-drilled system, in a non-toxic environment, you'll do better. And Man United are a problem in a lot of our players that have been suffering. At the same time, I love what you said there about finding solutions. Because the little solutions we're starting to find, the signings of Dorgu that nobody had heard of before we bought him. No one was talking about him. Let's have it right. Not even the FM and the FIFA crowd. Nobody was talking about him. Heaven. Most of us didn't even realize he was a first team signing when he came in. None of us did. That is enough in the short term. And I'm going to be very specific with my words so that no one can clip me up. That is enough in the short term for me to put some faith in this rebuild when it comes to us knowing what we're doing in recruitment in the short term. So in the short term, those two signings are enough for me to say, I'm going to give it this summer. Would be enough for me to say, even if let me rephrase that again. If I was a doubter, it would be enough for me to say, I'm going to give it this summer and see what it looks like. Man United fans have got to learn to control this narrative more. I understand we hate the Glazers. I understand that many of us feel like Ineos coming in has kept the Glazers here and we thought they were close to leaving. I understand that train of thought. I've listened to a Sir Jim interview, and there's certain things he said where people have been like, I can't believe he's saying that the Glazers are nice people. He's never going to say anything horrible about them. He's essentially trying to convince them to sell him the rest of the club. He won't be slagging them off. We've got a red flag here. He said that Daniel Levy's a great guy. Yes, this has been through the process of him negotiating Ineos no longer sponsoring Spurs. Why would he be slagging him off? Equally, at some point, we might want to buy a Spurs player. We might want to sell Spurs a player. Why damage that by going, I know my fans think Levy's a dick, so I'm going to also say Levy's a dick. Why would he be an idiot and do that? You, a football fan, don't have to sit in front of Daniel Levy ever and convince him of anything. He does. He's never going to slag him off. Use your fucking brain. Equally, though... Sorry, go on.
On that as well. You notice the two people he did slag off, or did have comments about, was Woodward and Arnold. And guess what? They're not in football no more. Dan Ashworth, though, he didn't say much about Dan because he, again, is going to be in football still.
I have seen... it's one of these things where I look at this situation and I saw people defending Richard Arnold and Woodward yesterday. And they were like, well, and then someone just said he's only saying that to pander to the fans. Yes, but then he's also praised the Glazers and praised Daniel Levy. That doesn't pander to the fans, does it? He's saying certain things you're going to get the complete truth on. And he's right. And then I heard, well, we've got a cycling man now running the club over a golf man or whatever it is.
Rugby man.
Rugby man. But no, so Brailsford isn't running the football club. Barada is. But he is in an advisory role. He isn't making footballing decisions at the club. That is what Wilcock, that is what Vivell, and that is what Barada are doing. Understand it. But what I find so interesting is that when Sir Jim and Ineos do things that we've been asking for, more communication, look to develop the club, be transparent about the plan, it's met with pure skepticism, and there can be no way this will work. Then when they say things we don't like, that's 100% proves I'm right. I'm like, not really. And I'm not saying, by the way, they're going to turn the club around 100%. I'm just stating to Man United fans, control the narrative a little bit better. We've had a week where it's been by and large positive, and we've had 3 positive results. Maybe that should tell you something. And for me, it's a case of when you look at the Bruno Fernandes situation, the solutions you've seen that we've made in the transfer window for a few little problems, give it the summer. Because what's really weird is if we suddenly start winning more games, people will scrutinize the plans less, which is interesting. I always find that an interesting concept. But as I say, look, we should still challenge things that we don't like. But I think there's times publicly where Man United fans have got to control the narrative a little bit better, personally. Let's look at a few of these comments that have come in here. The international break is good for recovery and rest, but do you think it's counterproductive for the consistency? Yeah, listen, I kind of want to keep playing now. I love Man United are in great form. I don't want to break. So I get where you're coming from. Josh Wearing says, great confidence boost ahead of the international break. Got to keep up the momentum. But the one thing I will say, it's nice going into an international break on a couple of wins. Everything feels a little bit more positive. Everything feels, listen, Liverpool are top of the league. But in terms of in an isolated period of time, feels a lot better than I feel better than I think Chelsea fans do going into this international break. Better than Liverpool fans do. Better than Spurs fans do. So that side of it's very, very good indeed. Excuse me. We need to stick to Amorim through good and through bad. I think we just need to stick to a plan through good and bad and complete a squad build and complete an ethos change at the club. This year says, good to see the youngsters get some game time. Wasn't it nice to be in a position in a game to bring on youngsters, though? How many times have me and you, is what I was going to ask you, how many times have me and you watched a game together or like we're sort of communicating during a game? Oh, I'd love to see Joe Bloggs come on. And we just never get the game into a position where we can bring the youngsters on.
Yeah, man, it's happened so many times where like you see a team and like, oh yeah, we should easily put them to the sword. 20 minutes to go, whack on a few youngsters, get them some minutes, and it just never happens. And I will always say, Terry, like these players hate the young people, don't they? They must hate them because you just never give them a chance. And it was nice today to see Collier, Amas, and Chido all on the pitch. It's a shame about him because I reckon he would have stayed on as well, and you would have seen 4 young players on the pitch. And yeah, it was good to see them, and all of them showed a little bit of something today. Collier is showing some versatility. And the main thing that he's showing actually is that Amorim trusts him. He trusted him to go right wing back for a bit. Then he trusted him to move back centrally. And he did the job there. He did the okay job. He's not a right wing back, so I'm not expecting him to go bombing forward like a Dallo. But he kept the ball. He did his tackles. He moved to centre midfield, and same again. He just did his job. Steady. If you want to call him a steady Eddie, that's fine. Like he did that. And we need that from him right now. We don't need him to be extravagant. Amas, Steven Amas, when he was just a left back in Ten Hag's system, I was a bit worried for him. I was like, okay, I don't know how he will adapt. Will he be able to defend the wide areas like we had to under Erik Ten Hag? Can he do that role? He looks more like a winger than he does a left back. But now that we play 3 at the back, he's going to have that cover with a defender behind him. And I know going forward, he's good. I know technically he's very good. Even today, he did a little bit of a couple of feints with the passes. I'm like, okay, I want to see a bit more. Can he, towards the end of the season, can he get a couple of games with a few minutes in there? Because I'm really intrigued to see how he does. Because I think we would have a decent cover in this young man. He's quick. He can play with the ball.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. And he did good defensively as well. And surprisingly, he's got a long throw. Which I didn't expect him to have. And then Chido, he only had really one moment, but it was good. He trapped the ball with a player on him, pushed it past him, and played out wide. It's these little things that I see a young player do. And I'm like, okay, let's build from that. People expect, listen, I know I like young players. Everyone says, you would want to have a team of youngsters if you could. No. But when it comes to young players, I don't actually need them to do all the extravagant things. I would love it if they do. We all love it when we see players burst onto the scene. But it's in the little things where you see growth in these players. And I want to see more of these little things keep growing.
Yeah. Just an update here. Just come out on the United Stand. It says we have to evaluate during the week. He is a young kid and doesn't know how to explain what he's feeling. It is hard for us to know. He is a bit calm now, but we have to assess this. Some people are saying that he's been. Some people are claiming that he's been up and walking around. Hopefully, it's a sprain or something, and maybe he's just. My hope is that it's a sprain, which can be very painful, but he's maybe panicked.
Yeah,
because he's young and come off. Fingers crossed that's the truth. A few people saying here Heaven is walking around freely after some free time. Heaven's injury. Listen, I hope, Eric, that you are correct about that. But listen, about the youngsters, you're absolutely right. I thought they did a very good job. I look at like Toby Collier. I haven't been blown away by him in terms of, oh my God, he could dominate a midfield in the Premier League for the years to come. When I see him, it's not the blonde hair, by the way. It's just, I see Darren Fletcher. I see John O'Shea. I see a versatile player that can help us in areas. That's what, for me, Scott McTominay always should have been. As an example, what Jesse Lingard always should have been. A member of the squad who helps us in positions, as opposed to, do you think he'll ever be a starter? I was really impressed with him when he came on. Definitely some defensive issues that I saw in pre-season and other games that he played in. But as a wing-back, I have felt, and this is one thing I will say about Ten Hag, I felt that Amas should have had an opportunity a little sooner because of his natural left foot as an example. But it was great to see the youngsters come on and play, and it's very much the fabric of which this club is built upon. So, I absolutely love it. A dub and Liverpool tears today is a good day.
Thank you, Newcastle.
Listen, it was good. It was good.
Their fans can be jarring at times. I know. We all know this. Newcastle fans have this weird sense of we're part of the big boys, but when they get big boy pressure, they don't like it. I get that can be annoying. But today, these are the days that football fans live for. Your first trophy in 70 years. And you did it by beating not only the best team in the country, you dominated them, and you did it with a team, not just like a carry job, not with a fluky goal.
Yeah.
The team is just a really good team, a really good manager, and it's hard work, hard graft. And hey, listen, we don't know what's going to happen with the whole Man City, the whole third-party sponsorship rules. All I'm saying is I hope that gets shut down. Because anyhow that gets opened up, boy.
Yeah, you know they're gonna be there, and they're getting a lot of confidence today. So yeah, again, I said it earlier. Congratulations to Newcastle, thoroughly deserved. Well done to them, and everybody associated with their club. It was a phenomenal day. There's no doubt about it. Look, I want to thank everyone who has tuned in. We've got something different for you tomorrow on the terrace, 11 a.m. UK time. Straight Facts is on. Brilliant lineup for you. Thank you, by the way, for becoming a member. I really do appreciate it, both of you. Thank you. 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Straight Facts is on. Trying something a little bit different. Make sure you're all here. There may even be another community joining us as well. And I want the Football Terrace community to be there to rep us, to talk, to debate, to go through and review the weekend games. So 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. This video is going to redirect you there now. So go and like it, bookmark it, because I want to see you all there repping us. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.